Hello there, I'm back with another video. This time we're not gonna play any challenge or whatsoever, but I'm gonna go back to a little bit of an old school type of video. We're gonna have another build order guide basically. And now I haven't done this for a very long time, so the meta has changed a little bit, I have to admit. It got more exciting. This seems to be a relatively strange build. But I guarantee you, if you play like this, you're gonna have a lot of success. So this is going to be a mass Battlecruiser game. I'm gonna show you how to play mass Battlecruiser. This is the meta that we have been waiting for a very long time, and it's finally here. We have the mass Battlecruiser build. We start off the game very normal by opening up barracks into gas. This replay will also be in the description. This will be a little bit of a grittier version of it. So one thing I'm gonna say straight away, after my barracks here is done, I'll be sending that SCV straight across the map. I'm not gonna send it, this is the greedy version, I'm not gonna send it straight across the map to scout if my opponent is making an axis. We're gonna start off with a command center, just normal. If you don't know how to play this, then this might not be the correct video for you. But anyways, you're gonna open up barracks into gas, into command center with a marine, and then you go into the reactor. That is the build. Ideally with an SCV scout to see if they are proxying you, because if there's some sort of proxy gateway you want to get a bunker. But I'm a greedy man. Next up will be the factory in our main base, and then the second depot, this SCV is gonna be sent towards the other side of the map in order to build a proxy. In this case, I choose to build the proxy over here. My opponent spawns over here. So then I can fly the BC straight into his base. But you can build it anywhere. You can also hide it here. I like to proxy just so I can fly the Battlecruiser straight in. While making the factories, you also take the second gas, of course. If you want to have a full detail on the build order, watch the replay. I'm going to put it in the description if I don't forget. We're gonna make a Hellion for the scouting, and then here, the proxy starboard. So far, we kind of ignore what the Protoss is doing. We open up Marine into Reactor, so we do have a lot of Marines to deal with any sort of attack. And we're also gonna get a tech left straight away on the factory to make sure that we are extra safe. Eventually, we're also gonna get a bunker. It should be around this time where you wanna get a bunker, and also a third gas, because PCs are very gas expensive. We're going to be lurking around here with the Hellion. We're gonna get some scouting info done, take the third gas, and go for the proxy fusion core. Now, this is all very normal. If you haven't watched this game for a very long time, this is really, it might seem a little strange to you, but sometimes the meta shifts a little bit. This is not one of those boring bio games. We're playing like real man StarCraft here. This Hellion does get the information that he's building stalkers. And we don't really need to worry about DTs so much. That is some information. We start off the BC, by the way. I also proxied my fusion core and another depot because I can. And now we're gonna get some tanks and a Cyclone. I made the Cyclone in case it's like a Stargate unit. You can also go straight into tanks. I don't take my gas immediately because I do want to make an expansion before I do that. Because we're macro Terran, we don't want to play a cheese build. This is going to be mass Battlecruiser after all, so getting another base and taking more gases is going to be very important. Now we're going to skip ahead to when the BC comes out. By the way, also get an eBay, because our third base, like we want to build some turrets as well. We need an eBay for that. We're going to go full turtle mode in this game. This is the most effective way of dealing with Protoss going for stalkers. Just send in the BC for some harassment. You can always teleport out. Even if you don't get a lot of kills, you can always teleport out or go to a corner, ideally, and that will keep the BC safe. So that's exactly what I'm doing. And in the meantime, I just built another command center, and I'm already gonna fly over my third. This is obviously the right choice, because we want to make a planetary at the third. That's just for extra safety, like an orbiter cannot shoot, a planetary can shoot, therefore the planetary is always the better choice. We get rid of the observer and we put the tanks on the high ground. We constantly build tanks out of one factory. That's very important to keep in mind, because we want to keep some of them on the high ground and we want to keep up the harassment with the BCs. Of course, I try and build more BCs. He found the proxy, so I now needed to like reposition. Of course, we're gonna make more BCs, and of course, after taking a third, we can afford more starports, so we're just gonna throw down 2 more. Here's the planetary. We're building like walls of depots. We're building missile turrets. That is so that we can make more BCs, and yeah, just that keeps us safe. Like, we don't want the war prison to go in. Player third, like I said, like, don't get too surprised about that. That's just the way you want to play. Always make a plane turret third. It does shoot, the orbital doesn't. We have already made a 4th base. It feels like this is a single player game so far if you look at my vision and his vision. We don't really do anything on the other side of the map, so you might as well just take another expansion. I mean, it's free, there's nothing there. So we might as well take it and secure it with a planetary. These tanks are going to be very important later on, but for now, you just want to go for mass BCs. You get like upgrades, you get more starports, like I said, a 2nd fusion core because the first one might get found by him. So you really want to make sure that you get that rolling as well. And now it's all about defending. We can't always like go out with the BCs because the teleport might not be available. So just try and be as active as you can. That is always pretty nice. You do have some marines in the beginning, like you want to go up to a bunch of marines because you need to be safe against 2-base blink stalker. So I have some marines to like throw on the map for scouting. They don't have any upgrades, but they just kept us safe against like a 4-gate 2-base blink hold in. Same as with the tanks for now, they just keep us safe against like blink stalker counterattacks. They don't really serve any other purpose. This is a mass Battlecruiser build after all. There we go. We lose a BC. I copied that micro from some of my viewers. But that's fine. We have 3 starports. We're making 3 BCs at a time. Losing 1 isn't gonna hurt us. And we're sitting very comfortable on 4 bases. We have 2 planetary set up. That is the sweet spot that you always want to aim for. If you're on 4 bases, you can mine like money infinitely, basically. This is like what a lot of the top Terrans have been doing as well. Like, you just want to secure the 4 base as fast as you can and build Battlecruiser. And then you go for like a full factory, triple armory, like mech transition. Because on 4 bases, you're really like, at that point, you're really like rich, you know. At that point, you're getting sufficient gas mining and mineral mining so that you can make infinite like amount of upgrades and missile turrets and all those kind of things. And since we're total Terran, we don't build anything but siege tanks, Battlecruiser, and maybe some Thors eventually. Here we see the Protoss attacking it, but this is why the planetary at the 3rd base comes in so handy, as well as the tanks on the high ground. This is why we get this. As you can see, the planetary keeps us very nice and safe, and the tanks on the high grounds are untouchable. This is why all Terrans recently have been starting to add that PF at the 3rd. It's very, very helpful in usually any situation. We have some tanks here as well, and look at that, another planetary. Can't break this. So this guy is gonna have to go into my natural, but in the natural we have BCs and high ground tanks waiting. So what can he possibly do? We have tanks that can kill stalkers and battlecruisers that can build that can kill immortals. So technically our army right now is like impossible for him to defeat. But we do want to build up some more tanks, and as you can see I'm floating money, and missile turrets, unfortunately they don't shoot stalkers or immortals, so I'm probably gonna spend that money for like some Hellbats to soak up the hits. Hellbats are the only mineral unit that you're allowed to make when you play this. You don't want to be one of those like bio players that's just boring, making Marines and A-moving. We're playing more interesting, so we're going for the Hellions here. That's the only mineral unit we really want to get. And by the way, the starport here is still active. I just use it as normal production facility as long as it's like still alive. Just gotta make sure that like you don't misrally the battlecruisers and they're all like messed up. In this case, my opponent is really frustrated. He has to go for another attack. But this is, once again, where the planetaries and the tanks just keep us really nice and safe. You just make more BCs out of 3 starports, and you're making more command centers because that's how you spend your money. Don't spend your money else, like make missile turrets, make commands on this. Don't make like anything else. Maybe some Hellions if you're really in a dire situation. But really, your main focus should be on surviving, getting the 4 bases up, and really just getting enough gas mining so they can get enough BCs out. Combined with the tanks on the high ground here, that's just like an impossible position to defeat. By the way, he nearly got that command center here. I kind of didn't realize that. I should have repaired it faster. Would have been sort of funny if it went down. Luckily it didn't. Now, in this case, we see him trying to snipe a Stalker, but BCs can teleport. Always keep in mind that you have that ability, so you better want to like blink it out before it's too late. And now we enter the late game stage of the game. That's our specialty. So after securing 4 bases and getting all this production, now what you want to be doing, and now I do have to admit, we made some sort of mistake in this game. We went for a little too many BCs. Now making too many BCs, like, eventually I'll make, this is a guide on how to play mass Battlecruiser into Turtle Mech. Eventually I'm also gonna make a guide on like Sky Terran. Sky Terran works a little bit different, but it has like the same amount of BCs. So right now I have like 10 BCs, which is too much. If you go Turtle Terran, I recommend actually getting less BCs and like more mech units. I'm gonna show you why in just a little bit when we like fast forward the game. Like now we're building tanks and battlecruisers against like Stalkers and Immortal and Archons, which is extremely nice. But my opponent adds some Stargates here, and he's gonna make a Tempest transition. Now Thors are extremely good against Tempest. I scanned this. You always want to make sure you don't want a mule. I mean, you probably have 200 energy on your orbitals anyways. By the way, I also got like building ammo. But anyways, you have like 200 energy on like each orbital anyways. This is also why we don't make any orbitals when we play this. Because, I mean, let's be honest, you're not going to drop your mules, right? Like, you don't have to lie to yourself. So you just spend the energy on like random scans like this. And then you can see, oh, he's making like 3 Stargates. And then you know he's making Tempest. And then you get the Thors. And those really hard counter the Tempest. However, Tempest also hard counter Battlecruisers, and I have like 12 of them very soon. 12 BCs in this case is overkill, because he has like a very mobile army with like Stalker and Tempest. And I don't really have that great of an army, because like, what are this amount of BCs gonna do? Like, I only need really like 6 or 8 of them, and then I just have to go for like an overwhelming amount of Thors, because if I don't win the air war, I'm gonna lose like everything. He's gonna have like more than he's gonna have close to like 100 supply of Tempest. And if they have 100 supply of Tempest, you really want to make like more than, like let's say you want to go close to like 80 supply of Thors. But right now we do have 12 Battlecruisers. And that equals like 72 supply of Battlecruiser. That's a lot. That's really a lot. You don't want to have that much into BCs, because then if the Protoss gets more Tempest, they can be really nasty, because you don't have enough Thors, as you can see here. So right now this is sort of nasty, because if you look at this position, he has batteries, he has cannons, which kind of, like, I don't have a lot of tanks because I don't have a lot of supply. And now it's like really nasty to push into this position, especially with weapons and shield batteries and reinforcements like Tempest. We don't have enough. As you can see, the Stalkers also shoot the Thors. So the problem here is really we don't have enough like tanks to support the Thors, but we can't get more tanks because we don't have enough supply. You see the problem? So if you want to go BCs and ground mech, you really want to make sure that you don't get like too many BCs, because essentially if I only have like 6 BCs, they have done their job. And what is the job of the BCs? The job is to force Tempest. Tempests are garbage against anything but BCs. But since I have 12 of them, Tempests are great. But if I only have like 6 and he makes Tempest, that means I have like way more supply for like a couple more Thors. And I also have like way more supply for like a couple more tanks. And as you can see, if I get like, let's say 6 tanks right now, like his Stalkers are just immediately gonna go down. Like the 6 to 8 BCs are gonna take care of all the Zealots. And then you just need to make sure you have enough Thors to be able to deal with like the Tempest. Also the BCs can deal with the Disruptors sort of well. If they make Disruptors, you can Yamato them, you can harass, all these kind of things. But now you can see I get pushed back, because I just can't take on the Tempest. The Tempests are too dangerous. And you have like a couple Thors. I'm making some more, but because I don't really have any supply available, and he's targeting my Thors, like as soon as the Thors are down, and he still has a good amount of Tempest, the thing is my BCs can never touch the Tempest, and that is the issue. If you play Sky Terran, you have Vikings, and you can punish this, but because I don't have any unit that can punish the Tempest, I really need to make sure that if I take a fight, I win it. But that's not the case right now, and that's really what sucks here. So yeah, that's really something to keep in mind. Make enough Thors so that you can like win the war. But you can't make enough Thors if you don't have the supply. And that's what we're seeing here, which is why we have to give up our base. But once again, like we have a 4 base setup. You don't need more than 4 bases. 4 bases are totally fine. And that's really how I'm rolling. As long as you have 4 bases, you're fine. We have extra command centers that we can like plant as well. You can always go for a BC run by. They can always teleport away. So if you send the BCs across the map and hide behind tanks and planters and enough Thors, that will do like a very nice job for you. And that will force the Stalkers out of position. And now I'm fighting like Tempest with only Thors. And that is exactly what we want. We want those Tempests to fight like against the Thors, but not if there's a shield battery overcharge, which you can see like is the case here. So this fight is not very healthy because he has more Tempest than I have Thors, which isn't a big issue because Thors are stronger, but he also has the shield battery, so run away from the green battery. That's always the yeah, I mean, that's a very easy thing to keep in mind. Meanwhile, I'm like harassing with my BCs. I killed all the Stalkers, and I can just blink away. As long as the Tempests are not here, I can always like teleport away. In this case, I see the recall. I see that he's recalling Tempest. So I decide to teleport my BCs. And in this case, I decide to finish the game because I know I have a lot of Thors over here. I can always scan, see where his army is, as I do now. So I see 3 Tempests here. I know he recalled some of the Tempests here. My BCs, I teleported to this base to take it out. And then at the same time, I can push the Thors because I just took out his ground army with the BCs. Then I forced a recall, which means this army can now defeat this part. And these BCs are far enough away from the Tempest to always escape. And that is the play here. Well, I'm also not going for this position because this is a waste. If I can go here, I go here. I don't have to go here. There's there's batteries and cannons. We don't want to go there. So these BCs are now going to do the job of taking out the base. And these Thors are just gonna, let's be honest, like, I didn't micro, you don't micro. You can just A-move those. If they fight Templars, you just gotta make sure there's not, like, any Dark Templars killing them. But, like, you can just A-move those. These Thors are just gonna destroy everything. It's totally fine. And as long as these BCs are not in range of the Tempest, it's always good. So I make sure that I run away if the Tempests get close. In this case, it got a little bit too close, but he had to go and kill the Thors instead. And now we took out every single base, basically. He's not mining properly anymore. And we still have our 4 base setup. We even took another one down here. And that is going to set us up very nicely while being up in supply. And that's how we win the game, basically, with like mass Thor Battlecruiser. We added just some tanks for the support against the ground. But mainly we just went Thors because they are good against Tempest. And Battlecruiser because they are good against anything on the ground. And then some tanks for the safety. And yeah, after this Dark Templar scouts the base, my opponent is going to surrender. And that will also do it for my quick mass BC Thor build order tutorial, I guess you can call it. This is how you want to play mass Battlecruiser with Mech. Yeah. Hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. I will see you guys again in the next video.